Hello, this is Agork. Welcome to episode 7 of Stranded Deep, a tutorial on how to survive and even thrive in Stranded Deep. The sun is going down, so what I wanted to get done before the sun sets was to pick the 2 pippy plants that have grown here. And then what I want to do is pick up my hoe and clear the farming plot. And to do that, you hold down E. And the reason I'm doing this is because we no longer need pippy plants. We have quite a few of them. We've got a nice stack of them here. We have a couple of antidotes already built. And I need to plant some potatoes and get my fuel still going so that I have fuel for a motor once we build it. But as you can see, once we cleared the plot, it actually removes all of the water in the farming plot as well. So you basically have to take your water bottle and water these up again because you don't want them to dry out. And I don't quite have enough to do them all, I don't think. I'm going to be one short. Yep, I'm one short. All right, no worries. All right, so it's already dark, so I'm going to sleep, and then I will be back in the morning. All right, so it's morning again, and I've built myself a new fire pit here, and I've brought one of the barrels over from the other part of the island. So what I wanted to do is make a hobo stove. Now you can quick craft it like this if the two are next to each other, and again you can rotate it with the Q or E keys in order to have it pointing in the direction you want. Now this acts, as I said, like a barbecue, and I'm just going to cook up some meat here. This should be the last one. Yes, all right. All right, so we have some small meat and some large, so I'll put maybe 2 pieces of small on here, and I'll drop a piece of small meat on there. We have a couple of medium meats. So as you can see, it's like a barbecue. You can just kind of place them wherever you have room to put them. And you just right-click on them to manipulate them. And we should be able to cook as many as you can squeeze on there, really. Now we know we can cook 5 there. And as we can see, we can also cook 5 here. I don't think it really matters whether they're lying on top of each other or whatnot. As long as they're within the grill area, it should be fine. But let's give it a go. We'll light up the hobo stove first, as it's the new one. We'll give it a bit of an advantage. And then we'll light up the smoker. Now, with the smoker, you can, of course, attach one more piece to the fire itself, so you can cook 6 at a time total. And here, I don't know if there is even really a limit, because you could pile probably another 5 or 6 pieces on there, and they might all cook all at once. But again, the main difference is that the smoker will smoke the meat, making it so that it never spoils, whereas the hobo stove will only cook the meat, so even cooked meat will spoil after a while. We have another pippy plant that's grown. You can see we have a lot of pippy plants, so I don't even really need this one to be there anymore, though I don't have anything else to plant, so we'll just leave it for now. And we'll let those cook. And while they do that, I'm just going to run off and collect some fibrous leaves. I see that a bunch of them have spawned again overnight, so I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so we can see that the small meat is already cooked on the smoker. The medium meat is still cooking. And over here, same thing. The small meat has cooked and the medium meat are still cooking. So no difference in how quickly that happened. They seem equally efficient at cooking. You have a storm blowing in. It's raining. that's not going to affect our food at all. Now this should hopefully add a little bit of water to our farming plots and hopefully to our water collector as well. So because it's raining, I'm going to make sure that my water bottle is completely filled up so that there is some room for water to collect in there from the rain. And my own health, I'm down 3, so I'll take 1. I'll drink up. All right. So we have cooked medium meat there. We have cooked medium meat there. We have smoked small meat. Now I need 3, so I'm going to need, let's see, 1 of those and 1 of those. And then what I'll do is I'll take the cooked meat from here and we'll attach those to the smoker so that we can smoke them. Where is it? Sorry, the remaining 1 piece of medium meat that is just cooked, I'll smoke that as soon as 1 of those is done. You see those are all just cooked at the moment. Alright, the rain has now filled up our potato farming plot and our pippy farming plot, as well as our ajuga, kura, and kawawa. So rain is good. It does actually help you out. It fills up your farming plots and also your water still. Now neither of these have used any leaves, but they've gained some water as well here. Alright, because it's raining, I'm going to basically just wait out the storm, and I'll come back once the storm is done and our meat should be all smoked by then, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so the storm is about to die out. The 2 pieces of meat that I had on the smoker all along are already smoked, and the 3 that I added from the Hobo stove are still smoking. So slightly quicker to not have to move meat around, but that's to be expected. And yeah, sun's coming back out. Should be a good day. What I wanted to do was to build myself a fuel still. And to build a fuel still, we have to look at our crafting menu here under structures. And the fuel still requires a fire pit, 2 pieces of clay, 2 planks, 4 sticks, 2 lashings, and a jerry can. Now, I do have the planks, I do have the jerry cans, I have lashings, I have sticks. The only thing I'm missing is clay. So what we can do is go out into the ocean here, and if you remember when we were swimming around in the last episode, whoa, what the heck is that? Shark, okay. It's just a little one, no worries. We have a mineable clay resource right here. So this is just like a rock resource. You can hammer it with your pickaxe and it'll break into pieces, and you should be able to get 6 pieces of clay out of it. And again, it's the similar problem with all the other mineable resources, is that you can lose the pieces of clay as they break off at times. Now the 4th one, I've already collected 3. The 4th one tends to be a problem one. It tends to want to fly off in the distance somewhere. And this one was actually not bad at all, so that was great. Whoop. Running out of air. Helps if you remember to breathe. And if you are swimming around an island trying to find a lot of clay, it's a good idea to use a breath boost, because you do need to stay underwater for quite a while to break up the entire mineable resource node. So yeah, having a breath boost will make things a lot easier for you. Alright, so we need to start with a fire pit, and we'll just plunk it in behind this one, I guess. Alright, and there's our fuel still. And again, we can rotate this as well. And I'm going to put the fuel can at the front, because that's where you will empty it from. And the clay we'll just leave here for now. We don't really need to do anything with it. And it'll be a while before our potatoes grow back, so no rush there. Alright, so we are getting late in the day again. Alright, the sun has come up. It's another beautiful morning. And I'm just going to make sure that I have water in all of my plots here. You can see our potatoes are starting to grow. And we have some kawawa fruit. And our kura fruit has grown. And our ajuga plant has grown. Now, there is a known glitch with the game. As you could just see, I got 2 fruit or 2 flowers off of each of those plants, which you should only get 1. Now, we have 1 spoiled kawawa fruit here to go with the 2 we just plucked. So I think what I'm going to do is make a gauze out of that spoiled one, because I can't use it for anything else other than to plant it. And I don't really need to plant anymore because you don't use them that often. So I'm going to make a coconut flask, and then using the, if I can find the spoiled one and a kura, and I'm going to move away from there so I don't use up the ones that are not spoiled. And I'm going to craft a gauze, and it takes 1 kura fruit, 1 kawawa fruit, and 1 coconut flask. And we now have a gauze. And again, that acts just like a bandage. So you can use it in place of a bandage. And we have an ajuga plant here too. So I think I'm going to grab a coconut and another lashing. And we will make a flask and a breath boost. So again, another item that we'll have handy if we need it. And yeah, lots of hippie plants, several antidotes already made, so no worries there. Alright, so 4 pieces of clay. To make a clay oven, we need 6 pieces of clay, 3 sticks, and 2 lashings. So again with the lashings, always needing new lashings. And we'll need new sticks again. So I'm going to again attack one of these driftwood piles and get some sticks. These are really handy resources. Gives me 4. I'm just going to get a couple more from over here. And I don't like to harvest the entire pile because I think they look cool. I just like to leave them lying in there unless I absolutely have to chop them up. Alright, so I'm going to see if I can find some clay. And I remember there was one over by the shipwreck over here, so I think I'll just go after this one because I know where it is. I'm not actually sure if this was it or not. I think it was. Well, there might be one more in the distance there. Now this often happens with clay, is that the pieces will fall into the plant life on the seafloor and you'll lose your piece of clay. It's there somewhere. There we go. I could have used the breath boost here, but I'm not going for a large amount of clay. I'm not going to search the whole island for clay. I just needed to get enough so that I could build. So there we go. Now a furnace is actually a permanent light source. It never needs fuel and it never runs out. So placing it strategically where you can actually use it is a good idea. And I'm just going to put it up here close to the tree and close to the farming plots because it'll give off a bit of light, and that'll be quite handy later on. What do I need? 3 planks for a brick station. Now a brick station you'll need in order to make bricks. And bricks are the same as these that I have lying here inside the shed. And you can use bricks to construct buildings, basically floors, walls, that sort of thing. Now when you make the brick station, you'll need this to make the bricks, and it has to be basically touching the furnace. So I just like to plunk it right up to it. You can put it on the side or behind it, doesn't matter, but as long as it's basically right on top of or right next to the furnace. And then what you can do, if I have any clay on me, I'm not even sure if I do. No, I don't. I have 1 piece of clay. So you can't build anything with 1 piece of clay. So we'll leave that for another time. All right, so I think what I'm going to do now is go off to another island. It's still early enough that we can do that. So we're at full health, full food, full water, full health. And we've almost run out of fibrous leaves again. That happens all the time. All right, so I have my spears, I have a knife, I have an axe, and I have a pickaxe. So what I want to take with me is maybe the water bottle. Everything is fully watered, so if I can fill this up with water, I'll have a water supply with me when we go. All right, during the night I sailed off to another island to loot a little bit. And the sun is now coming back up and we're just approaching our home island again. I basically managed to get some fibrous leaves, some corrugated scrap. I found 2 potato plants and a pippy plant, and I didn't really take much more than that. There were a lot of wrecks on the other island, so I thought I would actually leave those until the next time. Yeah, I was actually quite impressed with the number of wrecks on the other island, so I thought I would leave those and we'll go back there another time to look at them. So there's the potatoes and scrap and the pippy plant that I found. And I'm just going to drop the corrugated scrap here in our designated corrugated scrap corner. And we got over a stack, about a stack and a half of fibrous leaves, so that's great. And I took a couple of sticks, but that's all I took. I left most of the rocks and sticks and things there because I wanted to make sure that we could build a water still and a smoker once we got there, or once we go back to the island. All right, so our potatoes have grown, so we can pluck those. So that now gives us 4 potatoes, which is absolutely perfect because our fuel still takes exactly 4 potatoes in order to create a whole batch. You just hold down the E key to put them in, and then you'll need the kindling, and you light the fire under the fuel still just like any other fire, and that will start the fire going. It'll start cooking the potatoes and boiling them into a fuel mixture. As they ferment and boil, they'll filter down into the jerry can down at the bottom here, and then we can then collect it with the other jerry can here. All right, I'm just going to drop some of these things here. The pippy plants over here. That's fully up. Make sure that our watering jar is full and that these are all completely watered, which they are. All right. Check our own status. We could use a little bit of food, 1 drink of water. All right. Okay, so there was an interesting thing about the raft. Whoa, and there's a spiky starfish right there, so we'll have to watch out for him. One interesting thing about the raft that I didn't really do on purpose or didn't realize that I had done, which was really a good thing, is that the anchor being placed in the center of the raft like this is actually really good. And the reason for that is because often when you sail into a tight little bay like this, you have to rotate the raft around when you want to leave again. And having the anchor in the center of the raft is basically the center of balance in the raft. So you can quite easily rotate the raft around and it just spins basically on that central point, which is where the anchor roughly is. Normally, and in the past, I've always put the anchor on the back of the raft, usually on one of the back corners here. But that gives it an added problem that once you want to rotate the raft around, you have to rotate it around this point. If the anchor was right here, for example, you'd have to rotate the raft around this point, which, as you can guess, if I'm trying to rotate it this way, I'm going to hit rocks, I'm going to hit all sorts of things. And that was typically a problem, trying to rotate a raft while the anchor was still down. And here, this basically eliminates the problem. As long as you have a little bit of clearance around the raft, you can freely rotate this thing in and out of the harbor. So turn it the right direction when you want to leave, and away you go. So that was a nice little feature that I kind of stumbled across by accident. And the other thing about rafts that I didn't mention before is that if you remember when we built this raft, even though I had tires on the beach, I selected from the crafting menu, I selected the raft bottom and said that I was going to build a tire raft base, and it then turned white and I could kind of carry it around where I wanted it, place it where I needed it, and then click the mouse button and it placed it on the raft or attached it to the raft. One thing that people always run into a problem with in the very beginning, and I know I've done this a number of times before I figured it out, was that I would find tires, I would build a raft section, and then I'd maybe be over at another wreck and I'd find some buoy balls or other tires or barrels. I'd build another raft section and then I'd carry the one over to the other one and try and attach them together. And you can't do that. You can't attach already built raft pieces together. You have to attach something to the raft itself before you build it or while you're building it. So that's a fine distinction that might help you out in the future if you're building a raft. All right, so I'm going to basically wait for the fuel to cook up. It's about 1/4 of a tank. And what we'll do now is build us a motor. I think you have to have the hammer in your hand to do this. And if we go to the crafting menu to propulsion, the motor is at the bottom here. It takes one of each of the vehicle parts, a vehicle engine part, a vehicle filter part, a vehicle fuel part, and a vehicle electrical part, plus a roll of duct tape because, well, you need duct tape for anything. And that will give you a boat motor. So if I click on that, we can then place it on one of the corners. And it doesn't matter whether you put it on the left or the right, it's just a matter of personal preference or taste. And voila, we have a boat motor. So once we get that fueled up, we can take it for a test drive. And what I might do is go collect a little bit more clay. Now I'm going to go over to where the other clay node was over here. And I noticed this when I swam by earlier. If you'll take a look at the rock right here in the center of the screen, you can barely see some spiky things sticking out of it. That is a sea urchin. And this is just really evil. It's basically buried in the rock with just the spine sticking out. So anyone who's not paying attention will swim past it, or while you're harvesting this clay, you'll probably swim right over top of that thing and poison yourself. Really evil placing of that sea urchin. So I'm going to have to try not to run into it and poison myself. No idea where that one went. All right. Now oh, I just saw it. I briefly had it in my vision there. There it is. It's hiding inside the... Oh, come on, what? Oh my god. There's another sea urchin! Ah! Oh my god, these guys are evil! You can see how difficult it is to see these sea urchins. Ah. Oh well, it doesn't really matter. We have plenty of antidotes, so... And again, because we're already poisoned, we can't get poisoned again. So... Oh no. Alright, that's not quite half. Alright, so for the brick station, what you do is you have to have clay in your inventory, and you have to be looking at the furnace and the brick station. And then you can quick craft clay bricks. And each clay brick takes 2 pieces of clay. So once we build those, we can drop them here or put them in the storage shed, whatever. I'll just drop them here for now. And then we have 1 excess piece of clay, so we'll drop that there. And yeah, I'll wait for that to cook up. I'll go collect some leaves or something, do some just cleanup, and I'll be back once this is done cooking. And while I'm here, I might as well take an antidote, seeing as I am poisoned. So that fixed that situation. So we'll probably have to go fishing again as well. Well, we're over half a tank now, so that's nice. Might take the fishing spear and see if I can catch some fish again while I'm waiting. Alright, so that was just a quick little fishing trip. Still waiting on that, so let's drop some of these fish and skin them up and get them cooking. Okay, we're on the last cod. So that gives me 12, 14 pieces of cod. So we'll put the 5 on the smoker like we would normally do. And I think what I'll do with these is put the rest of them, see if we can pile all of these onto the hobo stove. This one takes a little bit more of fiddling about with where they go and how they get placed, and I'm just going to try and pile as many on here as I can and see if they actually all cook. Nice big family barbecue going on here. We got meat for everybody. Get on there, buddy. There you go. That looks a little bit funny, but okay. Fuel. What's our fuel situation? We have plenty of fuel. Plenty of fuel. And another storm rolling in, so that will help water our plants. Alright, I'm going to let those cook, and we've pretty much run out of time, so because the storm is raging here, I think I'll call this an episode, and next time we'll see how the meat turns out. We'll fuel up our new motor on the raft, and we can go back to the island and explore some shipwrecks and see if we can find some sharks and boars and snakes and things. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a like or a comment below, and we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.